Space invaders. The moon should be privatized to end global poverty, a UK researcher claims. The protection of the moon is clearly stated in the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, OST. It's an international document that prohibits any state to appropriate the space rock or other celestial bodies. Researchers from the Adam Smith Institute, a British neoliberal think tank, suggested that dividing the moon into regions and privatizing it can help end global poverty. However, there's a twist to this. The think tank suggests rethinking international accords to do this. Rebecca Lowe, an economic researcher who compiled a report on the matter for the institute titled Space Invaders, Property Rights on the Moon, has proposed a so-called individualistic approach to redefining the moon's property rights issue in a departure from what is outlined by the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. According to her, parts of the moon should be assigned to different countries that can then generate money by selling it to businesses, for example. Now, which countries would own it? The superpowers or everybody? Anyway, the report says such a system would incentivize responsible stewardship of space as well as opportunities for new scientific discovery and democratizing space exploration. The proposition is an alternative to other nation-focused options, the researcher mentions in her report, saying either all countries agree to update the Outer Space Treaty to allow appropriation of celestial land, or they come up with a new treaty instead of the OST, or develop a premonitory norm of international law that would allow the appropriation and would be adhered to by all countries. However, Lowe has pointed the finger at Russia and China, who she says would neither respect the human rights of their citizens nor provide them with the equal legal protection of property rights, and therefore put a spanner in the works of her plan. So what does she claim to do? Put Russia and China, kick them out of the space mission that they have their moon missions? Anyway, she said in her report, it's hard to imagine, therefore, that these two key space players would be at the forefront of any international agreement premised on ensuring a morally justified approach to the matter of space ownership. The idea to appropriate the moon has already been promoted by the Adam Smith Institute, which earlier suggested negotiating a new international accord instead of the Outer Space Treaty, which is signed by more than 100 countries and bans ownership of the moon. Lowe underlines that since it's unclear who owns the moon and who therefore should receive the rent payments, it's not clear who should benefit financially from renting it out. As a solution to this, she suggests that all humans should own the moon collectively, or that individuals should, quote, simply be able to acquire and hold at will, end quote. So both of these options, she writes, pose serious challenges, though. Lowe hopes that democracies will find ways to share fairly amongst their citizens and opportunities of the national appropriation of space when such appropriations are made legal. And she says it could be possible through tenders, shareholder schemes, lotteries, or various types of state-determined allocations. The sentiment voiced by the researcher appears to challenge the common belief that space has no borders. Under the Outer Space Treaty, nations cannot claim sovereignty of celestial bodies, and that includes our moon. It's not the first time Western entities have voiced their astronomical ambitions. In 2020, then President Trump said that Americans have the right to engage in commercial exploration of outer space. This was criticized by Russia as an attempt to enact aggressive plans to actually seize territories of other planets. Back then, Trump said the United States does not view it, outer space that is, as global commons. It appears that even 2 years later, his sentiment is shared across the ocean, that is, in the UK. This is by Daria Bedenko on Sputnik. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.